All right. March 27th, 2017. It is Daytona Day, something I think we've all been waiting on since the conclusion of last year's season in December, crowning a new champion in Sam Close in the Cold Hard Art Cup Series. Really, really excited to get back to race. I know you guys are too. Really excited to get back doing the podcast. I've got a new co-host. It's going to be Drew Eisenman, my teammate and friend. Going to be helping with this. We're going to do it bi-weekly now. It'll drop every Monday, so day of the race bi-weekly. Other changes we'll probably be working towards more getting new faces in here instead of interviewing the winners each week, especially with it being bi-weekly. We'll figure that out and take suggestions, of course, as time goes by. So if you have any suggestions, please throw them at either me or Drew. Always open to making this better for you guys, the listeners. So on today's podcast, it's going to be pretty simple. We interviewed a bunch of drivers at the Clash and the Duels. Kind of a get to know, some quick fire questions, things of that nature. You'll see real good answers from these guys. I'm really just excited to be back with you all and back racing, and I'm really looking forward to this season. I think this season is going to be one of our best yet. So with that being said, we're going to hop into those driver interviews, and then me and Drew will wrap up the podcast with what to expect this season and a little bit of discussion, whatever we get into. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and like I said, any suggestions, please give them to me. I'm always down to improve this for you all. And good luck tonight in Daytona.
So with us now, we got Peter Short, rookie. All right, Peter, we got just a couple quick fire questions for you.
Oh dear.
Yeah. First question. Outside of sim racing, what is your favorite hobby or interest that you have?
My favorite hobby is dealing with aircraft. I'm an engineer. My hobby is really what I do for work every day. So I'm lucky enough to have a job that I enjoy and do that every day.
Very cool, man. And why did you pick the sponsors that you're running with this year?
Well, I really enjoy the aviation industry, and sadly, Cam had already snapped up Boeing for the season. They were my first choice, but Southwest is a great airline based not far from me in Dallas, Texas, and they have a fleet of 737s, and I thought that would be a fantastic tie-in with having Boeing on the number 17 this year, and Southwest really show what Boeing aircraft can do, and I think that was a great tie-in.
All right, so for everyone else, this question has applied, but for you, we're going to mix it up a little bit. So previously, we'd asked everybody, what's your biggest regret from last season? It doesn't really apply to you because you weren't with us. So I'm going to go ahead and say, what is your favorite food?
That's a very different question.
Yeah, completely different. You're right, but still a question.
Well, I got to say barbecue. I love barbecue. Definitely being from Texas, you grow up eating barbecue, eating brisket a lot, and that's what I love to eat.
So next we have Matt Hackathorn. Outside of sim racing, what is one hobby or interest that you have?
Actual racing. A lot of actual racing. And beer.
A lot of... Why did you pick the sponsors you're going to race with this season?
Conveniently, I bought a Toyota Supra, and I put all those products in my car, and have a secret car coming up that's also going to have a lot of new sponsors for my actual race car.
Oh, and then finally, what is your biggest regret from last season?
Not fixing my internet sooner in the year.
You got to fix for this season?
Oh, dang diggity doodity, right?
Good stuff. I look forward to racing with you, buddy.
Thanks, Boo.
All right, so with us now, we got Corey Lindsay, VIP. So, Corey, just a couple quick fire questions for you. First one, outside of sim racing, what is your favorite hobby or interest that you have?
Oh, boy, let's see. I play guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was about 13 years old. I would consider myself pretty good, but I don't want to toot my own horn.
Well, that's probably the coolest answer we've had so far, so props on that. Number two, why did you pick the sponsors that you're racing with this year?
Well, I've always worn Pumas. I think they're great shoes. I like the Speed Cats. really comfortable. What else we got? We got Cherokee Red. That's a Western PA soda pop that you can only get around here. I think you might be able to get in Ohio as well, but it's really good. And what else? Third Man Records. I'm a big vinyl guy. I like listening to music with a record player and not MP3 files.
All right, well, that's really all we got for you, Corey. Thanks for stopping by, and you're officially like the actual coolest person in the league now. So we got that going for you. Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
And with us, we have Cameron Rich. Got a couple questions for you, bud. First one. Outside of sim racing, what is your favorite hobby?
Well, I'm kind of a programmer, so I like to program and work on my car because it's never finished. But spend time with my girlfriend, obviously. That's always fun.
Hey, always fun, right? All right, and next, why did you pick the sponsors that you're racing with this year?
Well, I picked Boeing because I'm a fan of their airplanes and kind of an aviation geek, so it kind of works. And I'm running the American Diabetes Association car because my girlfriend has diabetes, so kind of a personal tie there.
Very cool, man. Shout out to Jessica Seaman, Cameron's girlfriend. And final,
You can ask me if you want.
quick fire question. What is your biggest regret from last year?
Probably screwing up qualifying for Homestead, because if I would have been a little bit closer up, I probably wouldn't have gotten the mess I was in. But that's all in hindsight, obviously.
Yep. All right. Thanks, bud. Appreciate the interview.
That wasn't too bad, was it?
Next, we got Brent Miller, driver of the number 89. Outside of sim racing, what is one hobby or interest that you have?
That's a good question. Obviously, I like to watch sports. You know, the Predators, Nashville, all of them. I went to school for meteorology, so I do a storm chase every year too. So, be doing that in May. I'll be missing out on one race for that, but it's fun. So,
That's really, really neat. I'll talk to you about that storm chasing after this. The sponsors you picked for your car this season, why did you pick them?
let's see. Got to think who I got. I finished Master Paint. My dad works there up here in Wisconsin. They do like auto paint for race cars and stuff up here, so that was kind of cool. What else did I do? University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. That's where I went to school for college, obviously. And then 5-star race car bodies. That's they do a lot of the super light models and even the higher up series bodies. That's located in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin, up here. So I thought that was kind of cool.
And then
Yeah, they're pretty nifty.
sounds pretty good. And then finally, what is your biggest regret from last season?
I think I was just a little too hard on myself, honestly, and you know that. This was my first time really racing the A cars, and I was kind of hard on myself, get down on myself when I wasn't up there, you know, in the top 10 or 15 even. But as the season wore on, I kind of got a little more confidence now. If I can get the my connection issues to be fixed, then we'll be all good to go, I think, this year. So.
Well, that sounds great. I really do look forward to seeing what you do this season because, you know, last season you started running top 10, top 5, and I knew and could see that you were finally get a hold of it. So I'm really excited to see you follow that up at the beginning and end of the season.
Yeah, it should be fun. We made our own team this year, Rusty Webb and I, Back Row Motorsports. So hopefully we'll run up in the closer than the back row, that's for sure.
Sounds good, buddy. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Rayce.
All right, next we have Mike Stevens. Outside of sim racing, what is one hobby or interest that you have?
Pretty much like anything with an engine. You can have 4 wheels, 2 wheels, no wheels, it doesn't matter. I've been around cars my whole life and kind of just in my blood.
I feel you on that. It's a good hobby to have. Why did you pick the sponsors you're going to race with this season?
It's products that I use, that I like, favorite foods, favorite beverages, stuff like that.
Nice, nice, about the same for me. And then finally, what is your biggest regret from last season?
Not making it into the chase.
All right, Mike. Well, I'm sure you're going to make a good stab at it this season. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rayce.
Outside of sim racing, Carlos, what is one hobby or interest that you have?
Playing guitar or music in general.
Nice. And the sponsors you're running this season, why did you pick them?
Rooster Teeth. When I was sad back when my parents divorced, the comedy brought me back up and kept me alive on this planet.
Really? That's really, really cool. I like that. And then finally, what is your biggest regret from last season in 3 Wide Racing?
Oh, come on. Taking out Cameron Rich. I still feel bad for that today.
That's all good. I can understand that as being a big regret. But you got a whole new season to redeem and write a new chapter, and I wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you. You too. Thank you for having me here today.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Next, we have Kevin Finn. Outside of sim racing, what is one hobby or interest that you have?
One hobby or interest I would have. Probably just hanging out with my friends and, well, work consists most of my life right now. So I'd say, yeah, that sim racing and chilling with my friends, you know.
Sounds good. And the sponsors you're racing with this season, why did you pick them?
Because I like Crown Royal, man. Crown Royal is well, first I saw it on Trading Paints on the showroom side. It looked like a great car, and then Drew made some great schemes for us this season. Can't thank him enough for these schemes he made me, Danny, and Richard. So yeah, Crown Royal will be going with us, and Qualcomm.
Sounds good. And finally, what is your biggest regret from last season?
Well, that's pretty easy. I'm sure Drew knows what I'm going to say. Biggest regret last year was Road America, Turn 1, Lap 1.
All right, man. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Now we have our podcast producer, Rayce Clark.
Hi.
All right, Rayce, what's going on, man?
Not much. Just podcasting with you.
You know it. So, just 3 quick questions. First one, outside of sim racing, what is your favorite hobby or interest?
I'm actually a pretty boring person. I just recently started working at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, so that's been pretty cool. But I guess besides that and sim racing, I like to game a lot. I like to hang out with friends a lot and listen to music. But I'd say probably the number one hobby outside of racing is probably just other gaming.
Very cool, man. Very cool. And then moving on to our second question, why did you pick the sponsors that you're racing with this season?
I went with Hands On Nashville because it's a organization that you can kind of go to if you want to look for charity or volunteer work with, in the metro or city of Nashville. Everybody knows about the passion I have for the city, so anything to benefit it is A-okay in my book.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's a good cause. And then our final question for you: what is your biggest regret from last year?
Probably not qualifying well, which kind of led to me getting caught in a lot of accidents. I felt like I was a big magnet for wrecks, and that's pretty much it. Cause when I wouldn't say I barely made it to the chase, but it was kind of an all-season question, like how far am I going to make my way into this? And I didn't make it to the final 3 by like 1 or 2 points. Johnny Thomas got me, so I really like to make it to the final 3 this season. So yeah, my biggest regret is probably just having early troubles that just kind of led to late season issues.
All right, man. Well, thanks for the interview.
No, Drew, thank you. All right, on to my broadcast partner, Drew Eisenman. Outside of sim racing, what is one hobby or interest that you have?
I'd say probably motorcycling. Really enjoy it. Good stress relief. Try to be safe about it as much as possible, but it's a good time.
Of course, it's pretty neat. And this season, why did you pick the sponsors you're going to race with?
Perfect tie-in. So I race KTM in Cup because I have KTM. Really like it. It's a little KTM RC390, a little tiny 370cc sport bike. And then in B car, I race with Stone Brewing. They are a Brewing company, a brewery out of Southern California. They specialize in IPAs, double IPAs, all sorts of crazy West Coast hoppy beers. And I really like what they do. They experiment. They try lots of different things. They make great beer.
Nice. And then finally, what is your biggest regret from last season?
Mistakes in the last elimination round, the round of 6. Screwed up Texas and walled it while I was running like in 3rd place. And then in Phoenix, I screwed up my qualifying lap. And then on like lap 3, got caught up in a wreck. And that basically ended my championship hopes, which sucks because I felt like I was the only one. I mean, we didn't see what Cameron could do, but I felt like I was the only one on pace that could keep up with Sam at Homestead. So I felt like if I had been in that final round, I would have had a shot. But, it's what it is.
Yeah, I feel you on that. But I'm sure you're going to learn from your mistakes and what happened last season and really capitalize on it this season.
Hopefully.
For Three Rod Racing, it is Daytona Day. It is March 27th, 2017. I believe we've all been anxiously waiting on this day. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, a lot of things have changed. I'm with a new podcast colleague, and Drew Eisenman. Say, what up?
What up?
Nice, good stuff. Me and him, this first episode's kind of focused on getting to know other drivers and a look ahead. So we can really start off with the, so to say, preseason of Three Rod Racing. I think we went to Atlanta. I think every series got a taste of preseason, and then we went on to the Clash, which Johnny Thomas won that. And then the duels at Daytona, Nathan Velez qualified on pole, so he's a pole for the Daytona 250, and the winner of that was, I believe it was Just Story, is that correct?
Yeah, Just won it.
Yes, sir, so he'll be starting second. That's our front row is Velez and Just Story for the Daytona 250. So, Drew, any comments on the preseason or what you're looking forward to tonight?
Just getting to know some of the newer guys has been interesting. We got some really good guys coming in, I think. So just getting to know them, getting reacquainted, with racing. I haven't done a ton of it since last year. And just getting, back to being used to doing these longer-ish races, really.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of just shaking off the cobwebs. Corey does such a good job of hosting such a great league. I really don't find a lot of fun in official racing anymore. I thought about doing the NASCAR iRacing series, but I did the Daytona 500 and just had no urge to do anything after that. So, with that being said, about a great show that Corey puts on, we can really look at the schedule. Next week, well, actually not next week. We'll have an off week in the Cup cars. I believe I think it's either 3 Rock or B is not having that off week, but the Cup series will return back to action after Daytona, April 10th at Atlanta, and we're going to other tracks in the following weeks as Rockingham, Sonoma, pretty early in Bristol. So a unique schedule, a lot of stuff to look forward to. Is there any specific track you're looking forward to this season, Drew?
Oh, I'm really Atlanta because we get the new low downforce, super low downforce stuff. I'm excited for Atlanta just to see how that feels because I think everything's gonna feel completely different to how it did last year.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm excited for Bristol because I just feel like this need to have to be good there. But other than the obvious, I'm really excited to see how Five Flags will work out, and I'm glad we're going to Iowa. I love Auto Club. The throwback event at Darlington is going to be great. We did such a good job with our throwback schemes last season. Pretty much everybody participated, so that was a lot of fun. The Chase has the Milwaukee Mile in it. It's looking to be a real good season, which I'm really excited about. Any predictions on who you're going to see being strong this season as far as winning some races and poising up front?
I mean, I think you're going to see the same 2 guys that we saw last year. I think it's going to be Sam and Cameron, 2 favorites. It would be dumb for me to say anything other than either of those guys.
For sure. I think Sam and Cameron are always the obvious 2 choices. I believe our competition is going to be close. A lot of people, it was kind of their introduction to the A-car last season. Like, you see guys like Brent Miller, who honestly started off early in the season struggling, but they're late. He was in the top 10, top 5, so we're just going to wait and see, really after Daytona, of course, to see where people stand probably a better answer in the coming weeks. But really excited about that. Really excited about tonight. So I guess we can move on to tonight. It's Daytona Day, like we said. We'll be going live on OCR TV tonight. Make sure you give them a look. Make sure you get all the action. How do you plan? What's the game plan tonight, Drew?
Oh man, so last night was the first race in Speed Weeks that I finished, and I finished it by staying in the back pretty much the whole time, waiting for the wrecks to happen, because it's super speedways. It's what happens, and then trying to just get a decent finish at the end because I really don't enjoy this style of racing. So just getting a decent finish is important to me. So probably the same strategy tonight. Get to the end, run every lap. You're probably going to finish in the top 10.
So before we really get into anything else, Drew, who do you have winning tonight for the Cold Hard Art 3-Ride Racing Daytona 250?
Oh man, the guy who's really impressed me the most throughout all Speed Weeks and the B car race and everything, I got to go with Johnny Thomas. He races really aggressively, but he knows what he's doing, and everything that he does is aggressive but calculated. So I got to pick that 83 car.
I think that's a pretty smart pick. If honestly, I had to make a pick, man, I don't know. That's a hard one because Daytona. But if I'm going to pick somebody, I'm going to put number 14, Kevin Finn. He won the Nathan Young Design Series opener at Daytona. He showed a lot of speed at the Clash and Speed Weeks. I know the last time we were at Talladega last season during the chase, had that thing maybe gone green all the way, he might have been able to get up there and give me a run for that eventual win I had. So yeah, my pick tonight. Number 14, Kevin Finn.
Don't forget, he won the B car race in the Digger race last year.
Exactly. So yeah, that's a solid pick by both of us. So be looking out for Johnny Thomas or Kevin Finn tonight, I bet.
Yeah, both solid picks.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the big key is to stay out of trouble. I'm still up in the air on what I want to do. I thought last night in the Nathan Young Design Series, with the B cars, that maybe if I could just sit up front all race, I'd stay out of trouble. And I got wrecked out of second place twice, so definitely not the answer. It's hard to find an answer with these plate tracks. They're always a real wild card, but still looking forward to racing. I'm looking forward to all the new schemes and all the new teams, and I can't think of a third word to rhyme with. I apologize, but I'm just
the dreams, man. All the dreams,
the schemes, teams, and dreams, baby. Yeah, I'm really excited for dirt. That gets released here in a few days, and of course, 3-Ride Racing will be having our own little dirt series this summer, so that's something to look forward to. Just overall, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to be with my new team. I hate to toot our own horn on a 3-Ride broadcast, but I'm excited to be with Drew. I'm excited to see we got a bunch of new guys racing. The charter system, we were kind of up in the air on how successful it would be, and it turns out we're going to have more drivers than we did last year with full charters, which is insane. It really shows you how good of a job Corey does, and our new broadcast partners, OCR TV. I know you're excited, Drew.
Yeah, man. We on a personal basis, we expanded from 2 full-time teams last year to 4 this year, so that's super exciting. Bringing Peter on board, bringing you on board, and continue with Kim and myself. And then I really feel like the end of last year, especially in the Cup Series, we saw guys that weren't great early on in the year, like Johnny Thomas comes to mind, Kevin Finn. Those guys weren't great early on, and then they were running up front and competitive and competing for wins there at the end. And I'm just hoping that continues, because as much as I would love to win every race, I definitely want to, have close competition.
For sure. I could see guys like Johnny Thomas and Kevin Finn and you, me, getting up there and just competing for a lot. We were up there, but for the most part, it was the Cam and Sam show, and I'm looking forward to breaking that up. And I don't think it'll be that way this season. I think, like you said, a lot of people were really kind of learning the 8-car early in the season, and we go to so many different types of tracks. It's hard to get a grip at one track, which that's a good thing. That's a good thing on Corey for us to go to a whole different plethora of tracks. So really looking forward to this season, especially when we come back to Atlanta, Rockingham, Sonoma, Bristol, Vegas, tracks we went to last season, the 8-car. So some people are going to come back with some notes in their notebook and some similarities to learn from. So overall, I think the competition is going to be great. The season is going to be great. The broadcasts are going to be great. That's really all I had to say, Drew. Is there anything you had to add on? I think the big word for me, the big point for me is excitement.
I'm super excited for OCR. They've done a great job so far in the preseason. They seem like they are super invested in the league and making this thing work. So I'm really excited to see how that partnership grows. Hopefully, it goes really well because I think it's going to.
For sure. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this first episode. If you have any suggestions for me or Drew, please tweet them at me or him or 3 Wide Racing. It's like the first episode. You got to kind of shake off the first episode awkwardness and the cobwebs and just kind of figure out what everybody's looking for. We're taking a new approach this season, going bi-weekly and kind of moving away from just the 3 winner interview and trying to get a word from everybody this season. So if you want to be on here, please hit us up. We'll get you on here gladly. So that's me from Drew. I hope you guys have a great race tonight and have a great season. Thank you all so much. Drew?
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Peace out, Girl Scouts.
I'm a real wild one. Well, I'm just out of school, like I'm real cool. Gotta dance like a fool. Got the message that I gotta be alive. I'm a wild one. I'm a wild one. Ooh, baby, gonna break loose. Gonna keep on moving wild. Keep on shaking, baby. I'm a real wild child.
Way up on the hill. Oh, get together, Cameron Rich!
I'm gonna meet my friends. How much of a ball gonna tell my
And Johnny Thomas tries to miss that. Oh!
I'm a wild one. I'm gonna bring a loose, gonna keep it moving wild, gonna keep it swinging, baby. I'm a real wild child.
thirst. Needles on the river, fish are dead from curse. Bullet for the taking, crashed upon the shore. He stole it for a feeding, but his hunger is no more. Fire rained down from the sky.